Welcome back to day 2 of Bible Week. The regretting. Because I'm sure Terrace will regret this. Terrace, would you like to share anything before we get into it? Maybe like your credit card?
I ordered food.
Did you also order cream? Car polish.
Wow. I don't even know where my car polisher is. It might be some. I might have stashed it in a cupboard.
The Polish person doesn't know what a polisher is.
Wow. I will not be insulted in such a way.
Well, I mean, I peaked yesterday, so we gotta aim for the lows today.
I'm not looking forward to today in that case.
I mean, I'm looking downward, honestly. Okay. Let's goodbye. 2 Samuel 5. And all the tribes of Glasgow went to David in Hebron, saying, "Behold, we are your bone and your flesh. Moreover, yesterday and the day before, when Saul was king over us, you were the one leading out and leading back Glasgow. Then the Lord said to you, you shall pastor my people, Glasgow. You shall pastor my people, Glasgow, and you shall be the leader over Glasgow." I mean, that's 2, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I know which drink I'm not making again. I hate Fanta.
But do you like Fanti?
A little more. No, the problems that I've had an overdose of this when I was like... It's probably over 10 years ago, but I'm apparently still not over it. Anyways. Also, the elders of Glasgow went to the king at Hebron, and King David struck a pact with them at Hebron in the sight of the Lord. And they anointed David as king over Glasgow. My bad. David was a son of 30 years when he had begun to reign. And he reigned for 40 years. In Hebron, he reigned over Judah for 7 years and 6 months. Then in Jerusalem, he reigned for 33 years over all of Glasgow and Judah. And the king and all the men who were with him went away to Jerusalem, to the Walmart brand Jesusites, the inhabitants of the land. And it was said to David by them, "You shall not enter here, unless you will take away the blind and the lame, who say, David shall not enter here." But David seized the stronghold of Zion. The same is the city of David. For David had proposed on that day a reward to him who had struck the Walmart brand Jesusites and who had reached to the gutters of the rooftops and who had taken away the blind and the lame that hated the soul of David. Therefore, it is said in the proverb, "The blind and the lame shall not enter into the temple." Then David lived in the stronghold, and he called it the city of David. And he built it up on all sides from Millo and inward. And he advanced, prospering and increasing, and the Lord, the skies of hosts, was with him. Also Hiram, the king of Tyre, sent messengers to David with cedar wood and with builders of wood and builders of stone in order to make walls. And they built a house for David. And David knew that the Lord had confirmed him as king over Glasgow, and that he had exalted his kingdom over his people Glasgow. Then David took more concubines and wives from Jerusalem after he had arrived from Hebron. And other sons as well as daughters were born to David. And these are the names of those who were born to him in Jerusalem: Shammua and Shobab and Nathan and Solomon and Ibha and Elishua and Nepheg. That is dangerously close to something I should not say on stream. and Japhia, and Elishama, and Eliada, and Elipheleth. That just sounds like somebody's having a lisp. The fuck is that name? Then the Philistines heard that they had anointed David as king over Glasgow, and they all descended so that they might seek David. And when David had heard of it, he descended to a stronghold. Now the Philistines, arriving, spread themselves out in the valley of Rephaim. And David consulted the Lord, saying, "Shall I ascend to the Philistines? And will you give them into my hand?" And the Lord said to David, "Ascend, for I will certainly give the Philistines into your hand." Therefore David went to Baal Perazim, and he struck them there. And he said, "The Lord has divided my enemies before me, just as the waters are divided." I like how fitting my stream title is, even though this was absolutely not planned. Because of this, the name of that place was called Baal Perazim. And in that place they left behind their graven images, which David and his men took away. And the Philistines continued still, so that they ascend and spread themselves out in the valley of Rephaim. Then David consulted the Lord, "Shall I ascend against the Philistines, and will you deliver them into my hands?" And he responded, which basically is the Lord saying to David, so that counts, "You shall not ascend against them. Instead, circle behind their back. And you shall come, to them from the side opposite the balsam trees. And when you hear the sound of something going forth from the tops of the balsam trees, then you shall begin the battle. For then the Lord will go forth before your face, so that he may strike the army of the Philistines." And so David did just as the Lord had instructed him, and he struck down the Philistines from Gibeon Plis until you arrive at Gezer. The Lord responded something to David, in case you missed it.
Yeah. See, that one was a fucking that was a spinner. That you know how they throw balls in baseball and they get.
I'm familiar with my balls being spun, but that's different. I think it's called testicular torsion.
My fucking god, ball torture.
It's all fair game in the closed beta test. (2 Samuel 6). Then David again gathered together all the elect men of Glasgow, 30,000. And David arose and went away with the entire people who were with him from the men of Judah, so that they might lead back the Ark of Skytis, over which is invoked the name of the Lord of Hosts, who sits upon the cherubim above it. And they placed the Ark of Skytis on a new cart. And they took it from the house of Ab-inadab, who was in Gibeon Plis. And Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Ab-inadab, drove the new cart. And when they had taken it from the house of Ab-inadab, who was in Gibeon Plis, in case you forgot, because it definitely wasn't mentioned like 2 sentences ago, Ahio preceded the ark as the keeper of the Ark of Skytis. But David and all of Glasgow played before the Lord on every kind of musical instrument made of wood, and on harps, and lyres, and timbrels, and bells, and cymbals. And after they had arrived at the threshing floor of Nacon, Uzzah extended his hand to the Ark of Skytis, and he touched it, because the coxswain were kicking and had caused it to tip. Just the tip.
Just the tip.
And the indignation of the Lord was enraged against Uzzah, and he struck him for his temerity. And there he died, beside the Ark of Skytis. By the way, Terrace,
yes.
Did we have any rule related to people dying in a really stupid way?
No, it's only if they die within being introduced.
Oh yeah, you're right. They're introduced
in a very short amount of time.
Okay, hold on, because I think that just happened. So, indignation. Lord is mad against Uzzah, and then he died. And the first time Uzzah is mentioned was here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I think it's within 3 lines.
7, 8, 9 lines.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
to
go
the
ahead and check.
spreadsheet
Actually, 10. It's 10 lines after the first mention of
lines.
Huzzah!
Oh my fucking god! Someone dies within 10 lines of being introduced.
Whoa!
It's exactly on fucking point. Well then.
And there he died beside the Ark of Skytis. Then David was saddened because the Lord had struck Huzzah! And the name of that place was called the striking of Huzzah! Even to this day. And David was very fearful of the Lord on that day, saying, "How shall the Ark of the Lord be brought to me?" And he was not willing to send the Ark of the Lord to himself in the city of David. Instead, he sent it into the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite. And the Ark of the Lord dwelt in the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite, for 3 months. And the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and all his household. And it was reported to King David that the Lord had blessed Obed-Edom and all that was his because of the Ark of Skytis. I feel like this book is just trying to make a mockery of me. Oh, joke's on you. I'll make a mockery of you first, book. Fuck you. Therefore, David went and brought the Ark of Skytis from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with joy. The city of David with joy. And there were with David 7 choirs and celts for victims. And when those who were carrying the Ark of the Lord had traveled 6 steps, he immolated a ox and a ram. And David danced with all his ability before the Lord. And David was girded with the linen ephod. And David and all the house of Glasgow were leading the Ark of the Testament of the Lord with jubilation and the sound of the trumpet. What was our rule for repeat phrases? Because 3 sentences started with "and David." Do we have a rule for that?
Like a whole thing's repeated 3 times. Nothing about something starting in the same way.
Thank you.
Something is repeated 3 times in a short amount of time.
I guess that doesn't really count.
So it wasn't necessarily repeated. It was just started the same way. It wasn't like full and repeated.
And when the Ark of the Lord had entered into the city of David, Michal, the daughter of Saul, looking out through a window, saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, and she despised him in her heart. And they let in the Ark of the Lord, and they set it in its place in the middle of the Skytis tent, which David had pitched for it. And David offered holocausts and peace offerings in the sight of the Lord. And when he had completed offering holocausts and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts. And he distributed to the entire multitude of Glasgow, as much to men as to women, to each one loaf of bread, and 1 piece of roasted beef, and fine wheat flour fried with oil. And all the people went away, each one to his own house. Repeat, equals drink 10 bottles of gin. Yeah, if you would like this to be the very last Bible reading ever, sure.
Just dies of alcohol poisoning.
Dies of Bible poisoning.
Oh no.
And David returned so that he might bless his own house. And Michal, the daughter of Saul, going out to meet David, said, "How glorious was the king of Glasgow today, uncovering himself before the handmaids of his servants, and being unclothed, as if one of the performers were unclothed." And David said to Michal, "Before the Lord, who chose me rather than your daddy, and rather than his entire house, and who commanded me that I should be the leader over the people of the Lord in Glasgow, I will both play and demean myself, more so than I have done. And I will be little in my own eyes. And with the handmaids about whom you are speaking, I will appear more glorious." And so there was no child born to Michal, the daughter of Saul, even to the day of her death, with 1 F.
Just a singular. My Chinese food still isn't here. I'm hungry.
Alexa, order 10 bottles of gin.
Ooh.
I gotta speak louder because he's using headphones. Alexa!
It's fine. Oh, we'll do that on Thursday when I get paid.
Ah. Well then, ordering stream question mark.
Oh no.
2 Samuel 7. Now it happened that when the king had settled in his house, and the Lord had given him rest on every side from all his enemies, he said to the prophet Nathan, "Do you not see that I live in a house of cedar, and that the ark of Skytis has been placed in the midst of tent skins?" And Nathan said to the king, "Go, do all that is in your heart, for the Lord is with you." But it happened in that night, behold,
Oh no.
the word of the Lord came to Nathan, saying, "Go and say to my servant David, thus says the Lord, should you build a house for me as a dwelling place? For I have not lived in a house from the day that I led the sons of Glasgow away from the land of Egypt, even to this day." Hey, Terrace, remember bragging about leading them away from Egypt?
Yeah, that one.
And then
No,
Samuel
actually, no,
died.
I don't think they ever bragged about it. I think it was the opposite, is the people who are led, and then their
What does-
generations were the
hold
ones
on.
complaining about it.
Hold, what are the rules? We have some
Yeah,
complaining.
the people complaining that they were taken from slavery.
Could have sworn we also had one where Skydus is bragging about that, but apparently not.
No, that wasn't ever a thing. You're just projecting.
And Samuel died. Don't worry, there's a highlight of that now. Can rewatch it infinite amount of times. Instead, I have walked in a Skytis tent, and in a tent. Thanks. And in all the places that I have crossed through, with all the sons of Glasgow, did I ever speak a word to anyone from the tribes of Glasgow, whom I instructed to pasture my people Glasgow, saying, "Why have you not built me a house of cedar?" And now, so shall you speak to my servant David. Thus says the Lord of hosts, I took you from the pastures, from following the sheep, so that you would be the leader over my people Glasgow. And I have been with you everywhere that you walked, and I have slain all your enemies before your face. And I have made you a great name beside the name of the great ones who are upon the earth. And I will appoint a place for my people Glasgow, and I will plant them, and they shall live there, and they shall no longer be disturbed. Neither shall the sons of iniquity continue to afflict them as before, from the day when I appoint judges over my people Glasgow. And I will give rest to you from all your enemies. And the Lord foretells to you that the Lord himself will make a house for you. And when your days will have been fulfilled, and you will sleep with your daddies, I will raise up your offspring after you, who will go forth from your loins, and I will make firm his kingdom. Oh, wait, now I get it. Sleep with your daddies just means you're dead. Okay.
So they weren't being kinky.
I mean, depends. One does not exclude the other.
Oh no.
He himself shall build a house to my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom, even forever. And I will be a daddy to him, and he shall be a son to me. And if he will commit any iniquity, I will correct him with the rod of men, and with the wounds of the sons of men. But my mercy I will not take away from him, as I took it away from Saul, whom I removed from before my face. And your house shall be faithful, and your kingdom shall be before your face for eternity, and your throne shall be secure continuously. According to all these words, and according to this entire vision, so did Nathan speak to David. Then King David entered and sat before the Lord, and he said, Who am I, O Lord Skytus, and what is my house, that you would bring me to this point? More so, this has seemed little in your sight, O Lord Skytus, unless you also will speak about the house of your servant for a long time. For this is the law of Adam, O Lord Skytus. Therefore, what more will David be able to say to you? For know your servant, O Lord Skytus. For you know your servant, O Lord Skytus. because of your word and according to your own heart, you have done all these great deeds, so that you would make it known to your servant. For this reason, you are magnified, O large Skytus. For there is no one like you, and there is no Skytus except you, in all the things that we have heard with our own ears. But what nation is there upon the earth like your people Glasgow, because of whom Skytus went forth, so that he might redeem a people for himself, and establish a name for himself, and accomplish for them great and terrible things upon the earth, before the face of your people, whom you redeemed for yourself. Who you redeemed for yourself away from Egypt, the nations and their Skytuses. For you have secured your people Glasgow for yourself as an everlasting people, and you, O large Skytus, have become their Skytus. Now therefore, O large Skytus, raise up forever the word that you have spoken over your servant and over his house, and do just as you have said, so that your name may be magnified even forever, and so that it may be said, the Lord of hosts is the Skytus over Glasgow. And the house of your servant David will be established in the sight of the Lord. For you,
I have a complaint.
I have many.
I have a complaint.
Just one?
Just the one. My foot isn't here yet.
Would you like mine?
I have a feeling it'll take longer to get here than the current foot I've ordered.
Well then. For you, O Lord of hosts, the Skytus of Glasgow, have revealed to the ear of your servant, saying, I will build a house for you. Because of this, your servant has found it in his heart to pray this prayer to you. Now therefore, O Lord Skytus, you are Skytus, and your words shall be true. For you have spoken to your servant these good things. Therefore, begin, and bless the house of your servant, so that it may be forever before you. For you, O large Skytus, have spoken, and so let the house of your servant be blessed with your blessing forever. Do we have a rule about terrible things just... I don't know, this counts as being repeated. How many times did we have the O large Skytus in half a page? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 8, 9 times.
Wow.
Means you gotta drink.
That's yeah, I don't like that.
Don't worry, I'm sure we will behold something very soon, Terrace. Two Samuel 8. Now after these things it happened that David struck the Philistines and he humbled them. And David took the bridle of tribute from the hand of the Philistines. And he struck Moab, and he measured them with a line, leveling them to the ground. Now he measured with 2 lines. One to kill, and one to keep alive. What the fuck is a line in this context?
Yes.
Line.
Just a line.
Confused. Confused, I'm Skytus.
Well, yeah, I bet.
Okay, apparently he has 2 lines now, so he's playing line rider. And Moab was made to serve David under tribute. And David struck Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, the king of Zobah, when he set out to rule over the river Euphrates. And from his troops, David seized 1,700 horse seamen and 20,000 foot soldiers.
Oh, I like how I forget the really, really scuffed changes we make, and then it just randomly catches me off guard. Or you just pronounce things really, really dodgily, which also works.
You're welcome.
Either way, this is not enough alcohol.
And he cut the sinew of the leg in all the chariot horses, but he left aside enough of them for 100 chariots. And the Syrians of Damascus arrived, so that they might bring reinforcements to Hadadezer, the king of Zobah. And David struck down 22,000 men of the Syrian. And David positioned a garrison in Syria of Damascus. And Syria served David under tribute. And the Lord assisted David in all these things whatsoever that he set out to accomplish. So it's a Lord assisted speed run. And David took the armbands of gold which the servants of Hadadezer had, and he brought them to Jerusalem. And from Beta and Beeroth, cities of Hadadezer, King David took an exceedingly great amount of brass. Then Toi, the king of Hamath, heard that David had struck down the entire strength of Hadadezer, and so Toi sent his son Joram to King David, so that he might greet him with congratulations and give thanks, because he had fought against Hadadezer and had struck him down. For indeed, Toi was the enemy of Hadadezer, and in his hand were vessels of gold, and vessels of silver, and vessels of brass. And King David also sanctified these things to the Lord with the silver and the gold that he had sanctified from all the peoples whom he had subdued, from Syria and Moab, and the sons of Ammon, and the Philistines, and Amalek, and from the best spoils of Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, the king of Zobah. David also made a name for himself when he returned from seizing Syria in the valley of the salt pits, having cut down 18,000. And he positioned guards in Edom, and he stationed a garrison. And all of Edom was made to serve David. And the Lord assisted David in all things whatsoever that he set out to accomplish. And David reigned over all of Glasgow, and David accomplished judgment and justice with all his people. Now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was over the army. And Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was the keeper of records. And Zadok, the son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, the son of Abiathar, were the priests. And Seraiah was the scribe. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites. But the sons of David, were priests. I'm totally following the story.
My foot still isn't here.
More importantly, is your nipple wet?
No, to be fair, they're pretty dry.
There's an easy way to fix that.
I mean, they're a bit hard, but you know.
You drive a hard bargain. We'll get there. 2 Samuel 9. And David said, "Do you think that there could be anyone left from the house of Saul, so that I might show mercy to him because of Jonathan?" Now there was, from the house of Saul, a servant named Ziba. And when the king had called him to himself, he said to him, "Are you not Ziba?" And he responded, "I am your servant." And the king said, "Could there be anyone alive from the house of Saul, so that I may show mercy, may show the mercy of Scytus to him?" And Ziba said to the king, "There is left alive a son of Jonathan, with disabled feet." "Where is he?" he said. And Ziba said to the king, "Behold,
No.
he is in the house of Machir, the son of Amiel, in Lodebar." Not to be confused with the loading screen. Therefore, King David sent and brought him from the house of Machir, the son of Amiel, from Lodebar. And when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, had come to David, he fell upon his face and he reverenced. And David said, Mephibosheth, and he responded, "Your servant is here." And David said to him, "Do not be afraid, for I will certainly show mercy to you because of your daddy Jonathan, and I will restore to you all the fields of your daddy Saul, and you shall eat bread at my table always." And reverencing him, he said, "Who am I, your servant, that you should look with favor upon a dead dog like me?" And so the king called Ziba, the servant of Saul, and he said to him, Everything whatsoever that belonged to Saul and his entire house I have given to the son of your lord. And so work the land for him, you and your sons and your servants. And you shall bring in food for the son of your lord for nourishment. And Mephibosheth, the son of your lord, shall always eat bread at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. And Ziba said to the king, Just as my lord has ordered your servant, so will your servant do. And Mephibosheth shall eat at my table like one of the sons of the king. Wait. The hell was I? God damn it. There. Check something real quick. Now Mephibosheth, the young son whose name was Micah. Truly, all the kindred of the house of Ziba served Mephibosheth. But Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem, for he was fed always from the table of the king, and he was lame in both feet. But he got food, unlike Terrace. Would you rather have feet or food?
I'm more of a food guy. I don't really care for feet. If it was something other than feet, I would have maybe considered it, but I'm not really into feet. And boy, do I like food.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll send you a video. It's fine, don't worry about it. It's completely irrelevant to anything other than me being a fat fuck. And it's also just mildly amusing because it's, it's a thing. Don't worry about it. You can share it with the class. Yeah, let me just find it. There it is. Yeah, there we go. It's uploading now. It's a fucking doozy.
Doozies.
Fuck TM.
Rip your camera TM because of upload. Nice. How do I even wait? No, not message link. How do I open link? No, it's just downloading. Oh no. We have a pest problem. There was a subscriber.
Oh no, what'd you do?
Terrace enjoys VTM.
Oh no, it's a pest. Just the one pest.
I don't think I can actually share this with the class. I just realized because VLC does weird things. So fuck you, class.
Wow.
I will just watch and you will just get audio. Fuck you.
Just have a source. The audio works too, actually.
You can make 200 sandwiches? Well, I can eat 200 sandwiches! I am a fat fuck.
Relatable. Hello, Risk Sass.
Very risky ass.
Yeah, he risks his ass. Since his regards, Terrace.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna look at Thomas's message in a bit. I've got about 15 messages lined up in my Discord DMs. Don't worry about it. I promise I'm not a degenerate.
IQ test for
My food is still like at least 20 minutes away.
What the
bare minimum?
Huh? How long does it take?
It takes like I ordered Chinese food, and for some strange, unknown, bizarre reason,
Terrace,
in the UK, Chinese food takes at least an hour to get to you.
Did you order it from China?
What?
Did you order it from China by any chance?
I could just imagine a very short Chinese man running very fast, approaching my location. Just like
delivery guys in your
paddling on a fucking dinghy at like fucking 200 mile an hour.
Everybody knows he's here. 2 Samuel 10. Now after these things it happened that the king of the sons of Ammon died. And his son Hanun reigned after him. And David said, I will show mercy to Hanun, the son of Nahash, just as his daddy showed mercy to me. Therefore, David sent consolation to him by his servants about the passing of his daddy. But when the servants of David had arrived in the land of the sons of Ammon, the leaders of the sons of Ammon said to, "Huh? None? Their lord, do you think it was because of the honor of your daddy that David sent consolers to you? And did not David send his servants to you so that he might investigate and explore the city, so that he might overthrow it? And so, none? Took the servants of David, and he shaved off 1/2 part of their beards, and he cut their garments at the middle, as far as the buttocks, and he sent them away. And when this had been reported to David, he sent to meet them. And the men were greatly disturbed by shame, and David commanded them, "Remain in Jericho until your beards grow, and then return." Now the sons of Ammon, seeing that they had done an injury to David, sent for and paid wages to the Syrians of Rehob and the Syrians of Zobah, 20,000 foot soldiers, and from the king of Maacah 1,000 men, and from Tob 12,000 men. And when David had heard this, he sent Joab and the entire army of warriors. Then the sons of Ammon went forth, and they positioned their battle line before the very entrance of the gates. But the Syrians of Zobah and of Rehob, and of Tob and of Maacah were by themselves in the field. And so, seeing that the battle had been prepared against him, both facing him and behind, Joab chose some from all the elect men of Glasgow, and he set up a battle line opposite the Syrians. But the remaining part of the people he delivered to his brother Abishai, who formed the battle line against the sons of Ammon. Road to running chain. Huh? Oh, yeah, wait. Not looking forward to reading the entirety of the B-movie script, and I'm going to make it uncomfortable for everyone involved. Lovely. The entire B-movie script already does that. True. No, but Sky just asked me very... It can be very persuasive. And Joab said, "If the Syrians prevail against me, then you shall assist me. But if the sons of Ammon prevail against you, then I will assist you. Be valiant men. And let us fight on behalf of our people and the city of our Skytes. Then the Lord will do what is good in his own sight." And so Joab and the people who were with him undertook the conflict against the Syrians, who immediately fled before their face. Then, seeing that the Syrians had fled, the sons of Ammon themselves also fled from the face of Abishai, and they entered into the city. And Joab returned from the sons of Ammon, and he went to Jerusalem. And so the Syrians, seeing that they had fallen before Glasgow, gathered themselves together. And Hadadezer sent and brought the Syrians who were beyond the river, and he led in their army. And Shobak, the ruler of the military of Hadadezer, was their leader. And when this had been reported to David, he drew together all of Glasgow. And he crossed over the Jordan, and he went to Helam. And the Syrians formed a battle line opposite David, and they fought against him. And the Syrians fled before the face of Glasgow, and David killed among us the Syrians the men of 700 chariots and 40,000 horsemen. And he struck down Shobak, the leader of the military, who immediately died. Excuse me, what?
Who died again?
I highlighted a sentence just for you. Go ahead and read it.
I've had too much alcohol, so don't
fine.
mind me. And he struck down Shobak, and leader of the military, who immediately died. Oh yeah, very good. Yeah, that's just killed over and died, bro. Thanks, very cool.
As opposed to killing him and him not dying immediately. Because when you get killed, you usually enter like an incapacitated state, and then you bleed out for 300 health points, and then you die.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Then all the kings who were in the reinforcements of Hadadezer, seeing themselves to be defeated by Glasgow, were very afraid, and they fled. 58,000 men before Glasgow. And they made peace with Glasgow, and they served them. And the Syrians were afraid to offer assistance to the sons of Ammon anymore. Well, what a great battle. They're completely outnumbered. Well, not completely, but they're outnumbered and surrounded. But then one of the enemy armies just flees, and then the other army flees because the first one fled, and then they just win by default. 10 out of 10 combat.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It is. 2 Samuel 11. Now it happened that, at the turn of the year, in the time when the kings usually go forth to war, David sent Joab and his servants with him and all of Glasgow, and they laid waste to the sons of Ammon, and they besieged Rabbah. Oh, I love Rabbah. But David remained in Jerusalem. While these things were taking place, David happened to arise from his bed after midday, and he walked upon the terrace of the king's house. He's canon in the Bible, let's go!
Oh no. Thanks, very cool.
And he saw across from his terrace a woman washing herself. And the woman was very beautiful. And he was very creepy. Therefore...
Thanks, Bible, very cool.
Therefore, the king sent and inquired who the woman might be. And it was reported to him that she was Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite. And so David sent messengers, and he took her. And when she had entered to him, he slept with her. Oh, it's that entering, not the other entering.
Oh no!
I thought this. I was very confused. I thought this was supposed to be
Did you forget how the Bible works?
I remember, but I know that there's multiple enterings, and since it was said that she was very beautiful, and then he sent for her, and then there's entering, the implication, or my first thought being that it's that entering is not that far off, I'm gonna say. But it's weird that she would enter to him unless they're very much into pegging, which, hey, fair enough. I only kink shame scared.
Wow.
He slept with her. And presently she was purified from her uncleanness. Wait. Hold.
I'm gonna go take a very angry piss. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna word this. What's the word? Like, sex with a person of the people chosen by Skytis makes you clean. There we go. What this means, as far as I understand. She was purified from her uncleanness. Unless it's the uncleanness of sex itself, which would still be weird because it's not unclean depending on why you do it. Not always unclean. Very confusing. And she returned to her house, having conceived an unborn child. And sending, she informed David, and she said, I have conceived. Then David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And Uriah went to David. And David inquired whether Joab was doing well, and about the people, and how the war was being conducted. And David sent to Uriah, Go into your house and wash your feet. And Uriah departed from the house of the king, and a meal from the king followed after him. But Uriah slept before the gate of the king's house with other servants of his lord, and he did not go down to his own house. And it was reported to David by some, saying, Uriah did not go into his house. And David said to Uriah, Did you not arrive from a journey? Why did you not go down to your house? And Uriah said to David, The ark of Skytis and Glasgow and Judah dwell in tents. And my lord Joab and the servants of my lord stay upon the face of the earth. And should I then go into my own house, so that I may eat and drink and sleep with my wife? By your welfare, and by the welfare of your soul, I will not do this thing. Therefore David said to Uriah, Even so, remain here today, and tomorrow I will send you away. And so Uriah remained in Jerusalem, and on that day and the next. Remained in Jerusalem on that day and the next. And David called him so that he might eat and drink before him. And he made him inebriated. And departing in the evening, he slept on his bedding with the servant of his lord, and he did not go down to his own house. Therefore, when morning arrived, David wrote a letter to Joab, and he sent it by the hand of Uriah, writing in the letter, "Place Uriah opposite the warfare where the battle is the strongest, and then abandon him, so that, having been wounded, he may die." What the fuck? And so, when Joab was besieging the city, he positioned Uriah in the place where he knew the strongest men to be. And the men, departing from the city, made war against Joab. And some of the people among us, the servants of David, fell, and Uriah the Hittite also died. And so Joab sent and reported to David every word about the battle. And he instructed the messenger, saying, "When you have completed all the words about the war to the king, you see him to be angry, and if he says, 'Why did you draw near to the wall in order to fight? Are you ignorant that many darts are thrown from above the wall? Who struck down Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal? Did not a woman throw a fragment of a millstone upon him from the wall, and so kill him at Thebes? Why did you approach beside the wall?' Then you shall say, 'Your servant Uriah the Hittite also lies dead.'" Therefore the messenger departed, and he went and described to David all that Joab had instructed him. And the messenger said to David, "The men prevailed against us, and they went out to us in the field. Then we pursued them, making an assault, even to the gate of the city. And the archers directed their arrows at your servants from the wall above, and some of the king's servants died. And then also your servant Uriah the Hittite died." And David said to the messenger, "You shall say these things to Joab. Do not let this matter dishearten you, for varied are the events of war. Now this one, and now that one, is consumed by the sword. Encourage your warriors against the city and exhort them, so that you may destroy it." Then the wife of Uriah heard that her husband Uriah had died. Thanks, yeah, that's if you're the wife of somebody, your husband is probably a sad person. Then the wife of Uriah heard that her husband Uriah had died, and she mourned for him. But when the lamentation was completed, David sent and brought her into his house, and she became his wife, and she bore a son to him. And this word, which David had done, was displeasing in the sight of the Lord. Wait, so was this the... Hold on, I need to check actually. The woman was very beautiful. It was reported she was Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah. So basically, David saw a sexy woman and he was like, "I want that booty," but she's married. So he just sent for her husband, and then he's like, "Hey, do all these things." And then he tells some war general, "Hey, just place this dude at a very bad position so he will just die." And the guy dies.
Sounds about right.
And then he takes the woman. Nice. I mean, can't see how the Lord is displeased about that.
I'm not even paying any attention to the Bible. I'm still waiting for my food.
No. Well, you have plenty of things to pay attention to, so it's totally understandable. I'm sure you're a hard-working man.
If only knew what I was doing.
But probably more work than when you're at work.
And you're not wrong.
Attaboy.
There's some brain being used. I'll tell you that much.
Question is whose? I mean, what? Same.
Oh boy. Yeah, I've had a little bit too much alcohol already. I didn't close my Fanta. I just left my Fanta open.
Sounds fantastic. You should freeze it. You should you should put it in the freezer, then cut the bottle around it away, and then you have a Fanta stick.
Wow. Oh. When you drink a lot of alcohol, so everyone calls you an alcoholic. But then you drink a lot of Fanta and no one calls you fantastic.
Damn. Aristoteles no order food. I'm pretty sure he claimed he did, and that was before he started drinking, to my knowledge.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I've ordered food like at this point an hour ago, and apparently I'm supposed to arrive between now and the next 15 minutes.
You ordered when we were starting the call, so that was. Hold on, I will check.
I've heard the order was placed when we joined the call, which was over an hour ago now.
There we go. Yeah.
For some reason, as I've mentioned, for some reason in the UK, if you order Chinese food to be delivered to your house, you're waiting a bare minimum of an hour. I don't know why. It's just like a standard thing from every place.
Why is the camera just being laggy now? Is that on your end? Probably not.
No, it seems to be fine on my end.
Just try to do this again. Oh no, it's just a weird glitch on only my screen again for some stupid reason. Whatever.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Discord. Very cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes Discord just has a stroke. But it's not even showing on stream. You just can't have the pop-out window in full screen, apparently. Whatever. 2 Samuel 12. Then the Lord sent Nathan to David, and when he had come to him, he said to him, 2 men were in one city, one wealthy and the other poor. The wealthy man had very many sheep and oxen, but the poor man had nothing at all except one little sheep which he had bought and nourished. And she had grown up before him, together with his children, eating from his bread and drinking from his cup and sleeping in his bosom. And she was like a daughter to him. But when a certain traveler had come to the wealthy man, neglecting to take from his own sheep and oxen so that he might present a feast for that traveler who had come to him, he took the sheep of the poor man, and he prepared a meal for the man who had come to him. Then David's indignation was enraged exceedingly against that man, and he said to Nathan, As the Lord lives, the man who has done this is a son of death, with one F.
Just a singular F.
He shall restore the sheep fourfold, because he did this word, and he did not take pity. But Nathan said to David, You are that man. Thus says the Lord, the skies of Glasgow. I anointed you as king over Glasgow, and I rescued you from the hand of Saul, and I gave the house of your lord to you, and the wives of your lord into your bosom, and I gave the house of Glasgow and of Judah to you. And as if these things were small, I shall add much greater things to you. Therefore, why have you despised the word of the Lord, so that you did evil in my sight? You have struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and you have taken his wife as a wife for yourself, and you have put him to death with one F with the sword of the sons of Ammon. For this reason, the sword shall not withdraw from your house, even perpetually, because you have despised me, and you have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite, so that she may be your wife. And thus says the Lord, Behold, I will raise up over you an evil from your own house, and I will take your wives away before your eyes, and I will give them to your neighbor, and he will sleep with your wives in the sight of the sun. For you acted secretly, but I will do this word in the sight of all of Glasgow, and in the sight of the sun. Basically, he got fucking played.
Seems legit.
And David said to Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said to David, The Lord has also taken away your sin. You shall not die. Yet truly, because you have given occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, because of this word, the son who was born to you, dying he shall die. Excuse me, what?
My fucking gut.
Let me try this again. Nathan said to David, "The Lord has taken away your sin. You shall not die. Yet truly, because you have given occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme because of this word, the son who was born to you, dying he shall die." Nope.
Brilliant. That's
Still-
that's such a scuffed fucking sentence. Jesus Christ.
At first I was like, "Dying he shall," Yoda said, or what? And then it's like, "Dying he shall die." Oh. So he just...
I got a text from the Chinese place. My food is on its way.
So now it's just another 30 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
Like, dying is already bad enough, but imagine dying while you die. Like, holy shit.
Wow, that's fucking unbelievable, that.
Damn. That must be lethal. And Nathan returned to his own house, and the Lord struck the little one whom the wife of Uriah had borne to David. And he was despaired of it. And David begged the Lord on behalf of the little one. And David fasted strictly, and entering alone, he lay upon the ground. Then the elders of his house came, urging him to rise up from the ground. And he was not willing, nor would he eat a meal with them. Then, on the 7th day, it happened that the infant died. And the servants of David were afraid to report to him that the little one had died. For they said, "Behold,
Oh no.
when the child was still alive, we were speaking to him, but he would not listen to our voice. How much more will he afflict himself if we tell him that the boy is dead?" But when David had seen his servants whispering, he realized that the infant had died. And he said to his servants, "Is the child dead?" And they responded to him, "He is dead." Therefore David rose up from the ground, and he washed him and anointed himself. And when he had changed his clothing, he entered the house of the Lord, and he worshipped. Then he went to his own house and asked them to place bread before him, and he ate. But his servants said to him, "What is this word that you have done? You fasted and were weeping on behalf of the infant while he was still alive. For when the boy was dead, you arose and ate bread." And he said, "While he was yet alive, I fasted and wept on behalf of the infant. For I said, who knows if the Lord may perhaps give him to me and let the infant live." Wait, what? "But now that he is dead, why should I fast? Would I be able to bring him back any more? Instead, I will go to him. Yet, truly, he will not return to me, unless you contact a diviner who can clearly revive people, as we've seen on the previous episode. But hey, let's just ignore that fact."
Yeah, that's not important.
And David consoled with his wife Bathsheba, and entering to her, he slept with her. Oh, that entering, okay. And she bore a son, and he called his name Solomon, and the Lord loved him. And he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and he called his name. Wait, is his name beloved of the Lord? Yeah, wait. Huh? And he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and he called his name beloved of the Lord, because the Lord loved him. Brilliant name. And then Joab fought against Rabbah of the sons of Ammon. And he fought outside the royal city. And Joab sent messengers to David, saying, "I have struggled against Rabbah, and so the city of waters will soon be seized. Now therefore, gather the remaining portion of the people together and besiege the city and take it. Otherwise, when the city will have been laid waste by me, the victory will be ascribed to my name." And so David gathered together all the people, and he set out against Rabbah. And after he had fought, he seized it. And he took the crown of their king from his head. The weight of it was a talent of gold, having the most precious gems, and it was placed upon the head of David. Moreover, he carried away the spoils of the city, which were very many. Also bringing forth its people, he sawed them, and he drove over them with iron wagons, and he divided them with knives, and he dragged them through brick kilns. So he did to all the citizens of the sons of Ammon, and David returned with the entire army to Jerusalem. What the fuck? Jesus. Literally just full on Doom guy. He sought the people, drove over them with iron wagons, divided them with knives, dragged them through brick kilns. It literally did that to every single person there. Wow. Okay, somebody's straying from the good path, clearly. I think somebody's gonna have to get executed soon, TM. 2 Samuel 13. Now after these things, it happened that Ammon, the son of David, was in love with the very beautiful sister of Absalom, the son of David, and she was called Tamar. And he pined for her exceedingly, so much so that, out of love for her, he became ill. For, since she was a virgin, it seemed a difficulty to him that he would do anything dishonest with her. Now Amnon had a friend named Jonadab. Didn't know the Jonas brothers started dabbing. The son of Shimeah, the brother of David, a very prudent man. And he said to him, "Why are you becoming so thin from day to day, O son of the king? Why won't you tell me?" And Amnon said to him, "I am in love with Tamar, the sister of my brother Absalom." Wait. Terrace.
Yes.
If you are in love with the sister of your brother...
The sister... Wait. Yes, okay, yeah, I'm with you so far, right?
No, that's all I needed to know. Hold on.
I mean, it depends the context. What do you mean by contextually my brother? Because
it doesn't say homie.
Because that's kind of what the Bible also seems to, the whole love thy neighbor doesn't necessarily mean just the guy next door to you. So the Bible is known by having certain things a bit loose. So maybe it doesn't quite mean your actual biological brother.
Yeah, they have quite a few.
Although at the same time, I would still highlight that as best of, because that's a really funny sentence.
That literally just the quote is a best of, regardless, because no context, best context. But I'm actually going to try to figure out. So it happens that Amnon was in love with a very beautiful sister. So Amnon, the son of David. Amnon is the son of David, okay? Was in love with a very beautiful sister of Absalom, the son of David. So David had 2 sons, Amnon and Absalom, probably from different women, I guess. And then the sister of her, instead of just saying the daughter of David, no, it's the sister of the son of David, because
that's really scoffed, yeah.
Yeah,
anyway,
but
I'll be right back, because I'm the very angry piss again.
And then you're gonna get delivery right as you're on the toilet.
Yeah, hopefully. Because boy, am I fucking hungry.
So just to summarize, this guy basically is in love with his half-sister. Or maybe even sister. I don't know if somebody wants to find out who the parent, who the mother of Amnon and of Tamar is. But he's at the very least in love with his half-sister. Maybe even sister. Not entirely clear, but that is a fucking banger. I mean, actually, he's a banger. I mean, what? And Jonadab said to him, "Lie down upon your bed and feign sickness. And when your daddy will come, to visit you, say to him, I ask you to let my sister Tamar come to me." Now it's even, I ask you to let my sister Tamar come to me, so that she may give me food, and may make me a small meal, so that I may eat it from her hand. And so Amnon lay down, and he began to act as if he were ill. Wait, what? He literally was ill! Paris, you missed important things.
Oh, what we got?
Mr. Jonadab, the guy that was visiting Mr. I want incest. He said, lie
Right,
down upon your bed and feign sickness, and when your daddy will come to visit you, say to him, I ask you to let my sister Tamar come to me. This guy knows that it's his sister. He's just saying, hey, ask your daddy to send your sister to you. And then also...
So... incest.
Wincest.
Oh,
What?
you're not wrong.
Terrace, look at chat. What the fuck? DuckDuckGo auto-completes Amnon and Tamar, half-siblings. I received spoilers, rip. But also, another important thing, Terrace.
Yes.
So Amnon, pined for her, his sister or half-sister, whatever, so much so that out of love for her, he became ill, okay?
Right, okay,
So
yep.
he's now ill, as in the part that I highlighted. Okay?
Yep.
All right, and then it says, and so Amnon lay down and he began to act as if he were ill. Now explain to me, why would you act as if you were ill when you are literally ill? Games.
Gay. Yeah, that's the one. Games.
Oh my god, okay.
Oh.
And when the king had come to visit him, Amnon said to the king, I beg you to let my sister Tamar come to me and make in my sight 2 little portions of food, so that I take it from her hand. Therefore, David sent home to Tamar, saying, Come, Uwu, to the house of your brother Amnon, and make a small meal for him. And Tamar went into the house of her brother Amnon, but he was lying down. And taking flour, she mixed it, and dissolving it in his side, she cooked little portions of food. And taking what she had cooked, she poured it out, and she set it before him, but he refused to eat. And Amnon said, Send everyone away from me. And when they had sent everyone away, Amnon said to Tamar, Bring the food into the bedroom, so that I may eat from your hand. This is getting kinky. Therefore, Tamar took the little portions of food that she had made, and she brought them to her brother Amnon in the bedroom. And when she had presented the food to him, he took hold of her, and he said, Come, Ubu, lie with me, my sister.
That's such a cursed, incredibly cursed sentence.
She answered him, Do not do so, my brother. Do not force me, for no such thing must be done in Glasgow. Do not choose to do this senseless act, for I will not be able to bear my shame, and you will be like the one of the foolish in Glasgow.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like the exact kind of thing that would happen in Glasgow.
For it is better to speak to the king, and he will not deny me to you.
Oh.
No, step bro, we can't do this. I mean, half bro. What are you doing, half bro? Oh my fucking god. But he was not willing to agree to her petition. Instead, prevailing by strength, he forced her, and he lay with her. Ah, yes, classic incest rape. My favorite. I mean, what? Classic fucking Bible. I mean, classic Bible fucking. And Amnon held hatred for her with an... Huh? Wait, what? And Amnon held hatred for her... Okay, Terrence, no, stop typing. So first of all, so Amnon just raped his half-sister, right?
I wasn't listening. Sorry, what?
Okay, I will repeat. But he was not willing to agree to her petition. Instead, prevailing by strength, he forced her and he lay with her.
Okay, yep.
So Amnon just raped his half-sister, okay?
Incest and rape, right? Okay, thanks, Bible. Very cool. Keep
next
going.
sentence, and I need you to pay very close attention. And Amnon held hatred for her with an exceedingly great hatred. So much so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he loved her.
highlight that entire fucking section. That is some fucking that is some linguistic prowess being shown off right there.
What the fuck? I just started reading this and I'm like, wait, held hatred with the great hatred? Hold on. Holy fuck. And Amnon said to her, "Rise up and go away." And she answered him, "This evil is greater, which you are doing now against me in driving me away, than what you did before." But he was not willing to listen to her. Instead, calling the servants who were ministering to him, he said, "Cast this woman out from me and close the door behind her." Now she was clothed with an ankle-length robe. For the virgin daughters of the king made use of this kind of garment. And so his servant cast her out, and he closed the door behind her. And she sprinkled ashes upon her head, and she tore her ankle-length robe. And placing her hands upon her head, she went forth, walking and crying out. Do we have any rules related to incest already, by the way?
We don't, actually.
Well, I will let you be the judge.
I don't think it's the best of ideas.
Wait, you're not for incest? I thought you loved your sister. I mean, what?
No. That's not what I'm saying, right? I'm just saying that we shouldn't drink whenever it's mentioned, right?
We should drink when it's done. I mean, what? Then her brother Absalom said to her, "Has your brother Amnon lain with you? But now, sister, be quiet, for he is your brother, and you should not afflict your heart because of this matter." And so Tamar remained, wasting away in the house of her brother Absalom. So she got raped, and then her brother found out. Not the brother that raped her, and he told her, "You know what? Don't tell anyone."
I have a question.
Only one?
Well, the website I ordered food from currently says, "Enjoy your food," and underneath it, "Can you rate your meal?" Now, I'm no fucking.
I would say no, you can't.
I'm not a fucking genius, maybe in this current state. But I don't see no food around here. Like,
maybe you should call them.
Hold on, let me go check my front door if it's just been like dumped up my doorstep or some shit.
It would be entertaining.
You know, it's food delivery company, so you never know.
Imagine if terrorists got scammed. Okay, so once again, Bible just promoting the best of values. Yeah, if you get raped, just keep quiet about it. Don't let anyone know. It's fine. Just get over it. Deal with it. You seem to lack. You seem to lack sustenance. And when King David had heard about these things, he was deeply grieved, but he was not willing to afflict the spirit of his son Amnon, for he loved him since he was his firstborn. Yet Absalom did not speak to Amnon, neither good nor evil. For Absalom hated Amnon because he had violated his sister Tamar. Then, after the time of 2 years, it happened that the sheep of Absalom were being shorn in Bel-Hazor, which is near Ephraim. And Absalom invited all the sons of the king. And he went to the king, and he said to him, "Behold, the sheep of your servant are being shorn. I ask that the king with his servants may come to his servant." And the king said to Absalom, "Do not, my son, do not choose to ask that we may all come, and be a burden to you." Then, after he urged him, and he had refused to go, he blessed him. And Absalom said, "If you are not willing to come, I beg you, at least let my brother Amnon come with us." And the king said to him, "It is not necessary that he go with you." But Absalom pressed him, and so he sent with him Amnon and all the sons of the king. And Absalom made a feast, like the feast of a king. And then Absalom commanded his servants, saying, "Observe when Amnon will have become drunk with wine. And when I say to you, 'Strike and kill him,' do not be afraid, for it is I who commands you. Be strong and valiant men." Therefore, the servants of Absalom acted against Amnon, just as Absalom had commanded them. And all the sons of the king rose up, and each one climbed upon his mule and fled. And while they were still traveling on the journey, a rumor reached David, saying, "Absalom has struck down all the sons of the king, and there is not one of them remaining." And so the king rose up, and he tore his garments, and he fell upon the ground. And all his servants who were standing near him tore their garments. But Jonadab, the son of Shimeah, David's brother, responding, said, "My lord, the king should not consider that all the sons of the king have been slain. Amnon alone is dead, for he was set against by the mouth of Absalom from the day that he raped his sister in Tamar." But just want to point out, this might just be the first mention of the word rape. Before it was always some other word, but now we're getting very explicit. "Now therefore, let not my lord the king set this word in his heart, saying, 'All the sons of the king have been slain, for only Amnon is dead.'" Now Absalom fled, and the young man keeping watch lifted up his eyes and gazed out. And behold,
I think my food did come from China, because it was given to me by a very young-looking Chinese boy who looked like he just got out of a sweatshop.
Okay, let me try the sentence again. And behold, many people were arriving along a remote road at the side of the mountain. What you got there, buddy?
I got 3 different meals.
Actually, hold on. I will finish the chapter and then we shall have an eating stream.
Oh no.
You shall present your food to the class.
Oh no.
And Jonadab said to the king, "Behold,
fuck off, I'm trying to enjoy my food.
The sons of the king are here, in accord with the word of your servants, so it has happened."
Oh yeah.
And when he had ceased speaking, the sons of the king also appeared, and entering they lifted up their voice, and they wept. And the king also and all his servants wept with an exceedingly great weeping. Yes, they didn't just weep, they wept with a great weeping, with an exceedingly great weeping. Fucking weeps. But Absalom, fleeing, went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, the king of Geshur. Then David mourned for his son every day. Now after he had fled and had arrived in Geshur, Absalom was in that place for 3 years. And King David ceased to pursue Absalom because he had been consoled over the passing of Amnon. I'm gonna get a refill, and you can do mukbangs things now.
I enjoy noodles.
You enjoy.
I got noodles in sauce with beef. I also got some ramen and grilled spicy chicken. Because, you know, chicken. I've never been this happy to receive food, honestly. I literally waited an hour and a half to get this. And this is some nice beef in this. And there's also now noodles in my fucking beard. It's I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty good. It's a shame it came in late, so I already left the restaurant a bad review because you do not deserve a good review if I do not get my food on the time you stipulated. Not that it came past, like, not that the time I had to wait long, is the fact that they told me it'll come by a certain time, and then it didn't, and the time passed, and they told me it was delivered, and my food wasn't delivered. That's why I got an issue with. I can wait if you tell me how long I have to wait. If I have to wait longer than I have, then you tell me I'm going to have to wait. We're going to have a problem.
I should have
Oh, he's
also
back.
ordered food, Rip. Or if you left out. So, was it worth the wait?
Yeah, it's pretty good actually, yeah. And there's obviously a lot of it because I'm a fat fuck, so I'm going to have a very enjoyable afternoon now, just consuming it.
Was constantly eating. Favorite. 2 Samuel 14. Now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, understood that the heart of the king had been turned toward Absalom, and so he sent to Tekoa, and he brought from there a wise woman. And he said to her, "Feign that you are in mourning, and put on the clothing of one who mourns, and do not anoint yourself with oil, so that you may be like a woman who is still grieving for someone who died some time ago. And you shall enter to the king, and you shall speak words to him in this manner." Then Joab put the words in her mouth. I'm sure that's not the only thing he put in her mouth. And so when the...
Fuck off.
No, fuck mouth. I mean, what?
If someone tips Kitus, I don't think Sector gets paid enough.
Don't tip them off. I mean, what? Just the tip? And so, when the woman of Tekoa had entered to the king, she fell before him on the ground, and she reverenced, and she said, "Save me, O king!" And the king said to her, "What problem do you have?" And she responded, "Alas, I am a woman who is a widow, for my husband has died, and your handmaid had 2 sons, and they quarreled against one another in the field, and there was no one there who would be able to stop them, and one struck the other and killed him. And behold, the whole family, rising up against your handmaid, said, 'Deliver him who struck down his brother, so that we may kill him for the life of his brother whom he killed, so that we may do away with their heir. And they are not seeking to extinguish my spark that is left, so that there may not survive a name for my husband, nor remnant upon the earth.'" Jesus Christ, what the fuck did I just read?
The Bible.
True.
Just an assumption based on the quality.
Seems like it. And the king said to the woman, "Go to your own house, and I will make a decree on your behalf." And the woman of Tekoa said to the king, "May the iniquity be upon me, my lord, and upon the house of my daddy, but may the king and his throne be innocent." And the king said, "Whoever will contradict you, bring him to me, and he will never touch you again." And she said, "Let the king remember the Lord his skytis, so that close blood relatives may not be multiplied in order to take revenge, so that they may by no means kill my son." And he said, "As the Lord lives, no, not one hair from your son shall fall to the ground." Then the woman said, "Let your handmaid speak a word to the Lord, to my lord the king." Jesus fucking Christ. And he said, "Speak." And the woman said, "Why have you thought such a thing against the people of Skytis? And why has the king spoken this word? So that he sins and does not lead back the one whom he rejected. We are all dying, and we are all like waters that flow into the ground and do not return. Skytis does not will to lose a soul. Instead, he renews his efforts, thinking that what has been rejected might not perish altogether. Therefore now I have come to speak this word to my lord the king in the presence of the other people." And your handmaid said, "I will speak to the king, for perhaps there may be some way for the king to accomplish the word of his handmaid." And the king listened, and he... Is this still just part of the speech? What the fuck?
That's a big speech.
Hold on. It is. And the king listened, and he freed his handmaid from the hand of all who were willing to take away me and my son together from the inheritance of Skytis. Therefore, let your handmaid speak, so that the word of my lord the king may be like a sacrifice, or even like an angle of Skytis. So is my lord the king, so that he is moved by neither a blessing nor a curse. Then too, the Lord your Skytis is with you.
Chicken.
Woman, shut the fuck up. What are you saying? I think I get what she's saying, and it is fucking retarded. I'm not even gonna attempt to...
I don't know what she's saying.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna attempt to explain what I think she's saying, because it's so unbelievably dumb. Basically, I mean, in terms of content, she's just trying to stop him from grieving over his lost son, or whatever it was. Anyways, and in response, the king said to the woman, "You shall not conceal from me a word of what I ask you." And the woman said to him, "Speak, my lord the king." And the king said, "Is not the hand of Joab with you in all this?" And the woman answered and said, "By the welfare of your soul, my lord the king, it is neither to the left nor to the right in all these things that my lord the king has spoken. For your servant Joab himself instructed me, and he himself placed all these words in the mouth of your handmaid. Thus did I turn this to this figure of speech, because your servant Joab instructed it. But you, my lord the king, are wise, just as an angle of Skytis has wisdom, so that you understand all that is upon the earth." And the king said to Joab, "Behold, your word has succeeded in appeasing me. Therefore go and call back the boy Absalom."
Chicken.
And falling to the ground upon his face, Joab reverenced, and he blessed the king. And Joab said, "Today your servant has understood that I have found grace in your sight, my lord the king. For you have For you have accomplished the word of your servant." Then Joab rose up, and he went away to Geshur, and he brought Absalom into Jerusalem. But the king said, "Let him return to his own house, but let him not see my face." And so Absalom returned to his own house, but he did not see the face of the king. Now in all of Glasgow, there was no man so handsome and so very stately as Absalom. From the sole of the foot to the top of the head, there was no blemish in him.
That's quite narcissistic.
And when he shaved off his hair, for he shaved it off once a year because his long hair was burdensome to him, he weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels by the public weights. He sells his hair?
Apparently.
Then three sons...
I don't know for what purpose, but you know.
Money? Then...
But what would one do with hair at that time of year?
I mean, that seems like a good inheritance.
Hair. Inheritance.
Then 3 sons were born to Absalom, and 1 daughter of elegant form, whose name was Tamar. And Absalom remained for 2 years in Jerusalem, and he did not see the face of the king. And so he sent to Joab, so that he might send him to the king. But he refused to come to him. And when he had sent a second time, and he had refused to come to him, he said to his servants, You know that the field of Joab, the one that is near my field, has a harvest of barley. Therefore, go and set it on fire. And so the servants of Absalom set fire to the grain fields. And the servants of Joab, arriving with their garments torn, said, The servants of Absalom have set fire to part of the field. I just like how everybody immediately always knows who did what. Like how do they know that it was Absalom?
Well, obviously, record keeping was on point back in the day, which is why we can definitely know that everything you're reading is 100% truth.
They had surveillance camera, angles back then.
Angles.
And Joab rose up, and he went to Absalom at his house, and he said, "Why have your servants set fire to my grain field?" And Absalom responded to Joab, "I sent to you, begging that you might come, to me, and that I might send you to the king, and that you might say to him, 'Why was I brought from Geshur? It would have been better for me to be there.' I beg you, therefore, that I may see the face of the king, and if he is mindful of my iniquity, let him put me to death with one F." And so Joab, entering to the king, reported everything to him, and Absalom was summoned. And he entered to the king, and he reverenced on the face of the earth. And the king kissed Absalom. And then furious gay sex. I mean, what?
What? Sorry, I missed that bit.
The other guys were reading Bible too, so they knew what it was about. It's just a book being written in real time. So you just always check the last page before you go to bed, and then you're like, wait a minute, this guy set fire to my fields. 2 Samuel 15. Then, after these things, Absalom obtained for himself chariots and horse seamen and 50 men who went before him. And rising up in the morning, Absalom was standing beside the entrance of the gate. And when there was any man who had a dispute that might go before the king's judgment, Absalom would call to him and would say, "Which city are you from?" And responding, he would say, "I am your servant from a certain tribe of Glasgow." And Absalom would answer him, "Your words seem good and just to me, but there is no one appointed by the king to hear you." And Absalom would say, "Who may appoint me judge over the land, so that all those who have a dispute might come to me, and I might judge justly?" Then too, when a man would draw near to him, so that he might greet him, he would extend his hand, and taking hold of him, he would kiss him. He was doing this to all those of Glasgow arriving for judgment to be heard by the king. And he solicited the hearts of the men of Glasgow. Wait a moment, what? So basically, he's just standing in front of the king's court, and when all the people just want to speak to the king, he's like, "Well, if you want to talk to the king, well, the king doesn't have time for you. But if I was to be the judge, then, everything would be better." And then he also just kisses everyone. And yeah, that's sexual harassment, my dude.
Seems legit.
And then, after 40 years, Absalom said to King David, "I should go and pay my vows, which I have vowed to the Lord at Hebron. For your servant made a vow when he was in Geshur of Syria, saying, 'If the Lord will lead me back to Jerusalem, I will sacrifice to the Lord.' And King David said to him, 'Go in peace.' And he rose up and went away to Hebron." What? Absalom sends, I guess this is supposed to be then? Then Absalom sent scouts into all the tribes of Glasgow, saying, "As soon as you hear the blare of the trumpet, say, 'Absalom reigns in Hebron.'" Now, having been called, 200 men from Jerusalem went forth with Absalom, going in simplicity of heart and being entirely ignorant of the plan. Absalom also summoned Ahithophel, the Gilonite, a counselor of David, from his city Gilo. And when he was immolating victims, a very strong oath was sworn, and the people, hurrying together, joined with Absalom. Then a messenger went to David, saying, "With their whole heart, all of Glasgow is following Absalom." And David said to his servants who were with him in Jerusalem, "Rise up, let us flee, for there will be no escape for us from the face of Absalom. Hurry to depart, lest perhaps upon arriving he may seize us, and force ruin upon us, and strike the city with the edge of the sword." And the servants of the king said to him, "Everything whatsoever that our lord the king will command, we your servants shall carry out willingly." Therefore the king departed with his entire household on foot. And the king left behind 10 women of the concubines to take care of for the house. And having gone forth on foot, the king and all of Glasgow stood at a distance from the house, and all his servants were walking beside him. And the legions of the Serathites and the Pelethites and the Gittitites, powerful fighters, 600 men who had followed him from Gath on foot, were preceding the king. And then the king said to Ittai the Gittite, "Why do you come, with us? Return and live with the king, for you are a stranger. and you departed from your own place. You arrived yesterday, and today should you be compelled to go away with us? For I should go to the place where I am going, but you should return and lead your own brothers back with you. And the Lord will show mercy and truth to you, because you have shown grace and faith. And Ittai responded to the king by saying, As the Lord lives, and as my lord the king lives, in whatever place you will be, my lord the king, whether in death with one F or in life. Your servant.
One life.
No. Your servant will be there.
Life with one L. But
On the forehead.
no,
Hey,
no.
now you're an all-star.
No. Where copyright strike?
And David said to Ittai, Come and pass over. And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all the men who were with him, and the rest of the multitude. And they all wept with a great voice, and all the people passed over. The king also passed over the torrent Kidron. And all the people advanced opposite the way which looks outward towards the desert. Now Zadok, the priest, also went, and all the Levites went with him, carrying the ark of the covenant of Skytis, and they set down the ark of Skytis. And Abiathar went up until all the people who had departed from the city had gone by. And the king said to Zadok, Carry back the ark of Skytis into the city. If I shall find grace in the sight of the Lord, he will lead me back. And he will show me in his Skytis tent, and he will show it to me in his Skytis tent. But if he will say to me, You are not pleasing, I am ready. Let him do whatever is good in his own sight. And the king said to Zadok, the priest, O seer, return into the city in peace, and let your son Ahimaaz and Jonathan, the son of Abiathar, your two sons, be with you. Behold,
No.
I will hide in the plains of the desert until word from you may arrive to inform me. Therefore Zadok and Abiathar carried back the ark of Skytis into Jerusalem, and they remained there. But David ascended to the Mount of Olives, climbing and weeping, advancing with bare feet and with his head covered. Moreover, all the people who were with him ascended, weeping with their heads covered. Then it was reported to David that Ahithophel also had joined in swearing with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I beg you to uncover the foolishness of the counsel of Ahithophel. And when David had ascended the summit of the mountain, where he was going to adore the Lord, behold, Hushai, the Archite, met him with his garment torn and his head covered in soil. Why is my nose so itchy today? Terrace, help. Come over and scratch it. I mean, what?
Yeah.
And David said to him, If you come, Ubu, with me, you will be a burden to me. But if you return to the city, and you say to Absalom, I am your servant, O king, just as I have been the servant of your daddy, so too will I be your servant. You will destroy the counsel of Ahithophel. And you have with you the priests of Zadok and Abiathar. And any word whatsoever that you will hear from the house of the king, you shall reveal to Zadok and Abiathar the priests. Now with them are their two sons, Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok, and Jonathan, the son of Abiathar. And you shall send to me by them every word that you will have heard. Therefore Hushai, the friend of David, went into the city, and Absalom also entered into Jerusalem.
Same.
2 Samuel 16. And when David had passed a little beyond the top of the mountain, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, appeared to meet him with 2 donkeys which were burdened with 200 loaves, and 100 bunches of dried grapes, and 100 masses of dried figs, and a skin of wine. And the king said to Ziba, What do you intend to do with these things? And Ziba responded, The donkeys are for the household The donkeys are for the household of the king, so that they may sit, and the loaves and dried figs are for the servants to eat. But the wine is for anyone to drink who may be faint in the desert. And the king said, Where is the son of your lord? And Ziba answered the king, He remained in Jerusalem saying, Today the house of Glasgow will restore the kingdom of my daddy to me. And the king said to Ziba, All the things which were for Mephibosheth are now yours. And Ziba said, I beg you, that I may find grace before you, my lord the king. Then David went as far as Bahurim. Then King David went as far as Bahurim. And behold, a man from the kindred of the house of Saul, named Shimei, the son of Gera, went out from there. And going out, he continued on, and he was cursing and throwing stones against David and against all the servants of King David.
Oh no, not David.
And all the people and all the warriors were traveling to the right and to the left sides of the king. And so, as he was cursing the king, Shimei said, Go away, you men of blood and you men of Belial. The Lord has repaid you for all the blood of the house of Saul. For you have usurped the kingdom in place of him. And so the Lord has given the kingdom into the hand of Absalom, your son. And behold, your evils press close upon you, because you are a man of blood. Terrence is a man of blood alcohol.
Yes.
Then Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, said to the king, Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go and cut off his head. The king said, What is it to me and to all of you, O sons of Zeruiah? Permit him so that he may curse, for the Lord has commanded him to curse David. And who is the one who would dare to say, Why has he done so? And the king said to Abishai and to all his servants, Behold, my son who went forth from my loins is now seeking my life. How much more does a son of Benjamin do so now? How much more does a son of Benjamin do so now? Permit him so that he may curse in accord with the command of the Lord. Perhaps the Lord may look with favor upon my affliction, and the Lord may repay me good in place of the cursing of this day. There is just casually ignoring the beholdening.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
Curses upon you, mister. And so, David continued walking along the way, and his associates with him. But Shimei was advancing along the ridge of the mountain on the opposite side of him, cursing and throwing stones at him, and scattering dirt. And the king and the entire people with him, being weary, went and refreshed themselves there. But Absalom and all his people entered into Jerusalem. Moreover, Ahithophel was with him. And when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, had gone to Absalom, and he said to him, May you be well, O king. May you be well, O king. And Absalom said to him, Is this your kindness to your friend? Why did you not go to your friend? And Hushai responded to Absalom, By no means, for I will be his whom the Lord has chosen. And I and all this people and all of Glasgow will remain with him. But then too I declare this, whom should I serve? Is it not the son of the king? Just as I have been subject to your daddies, so will I be subject to you also. Then Absalom said to Ahithophel, Present a counsel as to what we ought to do. And Ahithophel said to Absalom, Enter to the concubine of your daddy, whom he left behind in order to care for the house. Thus, when all of Glasgow will hear that you disgraced your daddy, their hands may be strengthened with you. Therefore they spread a tent for Absalom on the rooftop, and he entered to the concubines of his daddy in the sight of all of Glasgow, What the fuck? Now the council of Ahithophel, which he gave in those days, was treated as if one were consulting Skytus. So was every council of Ahithophel, both when he was with David and when he was with Absalom. Excuse me, what? Let me just... Okay, so Hushai is basically saying, nope, I will serve you because you're the son of the king. And then the son of the king says, all right, you counsel me, what should we do? And he says, fuck your daddy's wives. Thus, when all of Glasgow will hear that you disgraced your daddy, their hands may be strengthened with you. Fuck your daddy's women, because then people will be mad at you. And then they put a tent on the rooftop, and he did some exhibitionism and just they did some public sex. Ah, yes, public sex. Harris is trying to decide whether he should figure out what I'm talking about or just hope that I move on soon enough.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not very hard to read.
It's neither.
Hi, neither. I'm Skytus.
No.
2 Samuel 17. Then Ahithophel said to Absalom, I will choose for myself 12,000 men, and rising up I will pursue David this night, and rushing against him, for he is weary and has weakened hands, I will strike him. And when all the people who are with him will have fled, I will strike down the king in isolation. And I will lead back the entire people, returning in the manner of one man, for you are seeking only one man, and all the people shall be in peace. And this word pleased Absalom, and all those great by birth of Glasgow. But Absalom said, summon Hushai the Archite, and let us hear what he also may say. And when Hushai had gone to Absalom, Absalom said to him, Ahithophel has spoken a word in this manner. Should we do it or not? What counsel do you give? And Hushai said to Absalom, the counsel that Ahithophel has given at this time is not good. And again Hushai declared, you know your daddy and the men who are with him to be very strong and bitter in soul, comparable to a bear raging in the forest when her young have been taken away. Moreover, your daddy is a man of war, so he will not live amongst us, the people. Perhaps he now hides in pits or in another place, wherever he wills. And if by chance, in the beginning, anyone may fall, whoever hears about it, no matter what he has heard, will say, there is a slaughter amongst us, the people who were following Absalom. And even the very strong, whose heart is like the heart of a lion, will be weakened out of fear. For all the people of Glasgow know your daddy to be a valiant man, and that all who are with him are robust. But this seems to me to be the right counsel, that all of Glasgow be gathered to you, from Dan to Beersheba, like the sand of sea which is innumerable, and you will be in their midst. And we shall rush against him in whatever place he will have been found, and we shall cover him as the dew usually falls upon the ground. And we shall not leave behind even one of the men who are with him. And if you will enter into any city of all of Glasgow shall encircle that city with ropes, and we will pull it into the torrent, so that there may not be found even one small stone from it.
Stone.
Important comment. Because that's literally what they're proposing. And Absalom, with all the men of Glasgow, said, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel. So, by an act of the Lord, the useful counsel of Ahithophel was defeated, in order that the Lord might lead evil over Absalom. And Hushai said to the priests Zadok and Abiathar, Ahithophel gave counsel to Absalom and to the elders of Glasgow in this and that manner, and I gave counsel in such and such manner. Now therefore, send quickly and report to David, saying, You shall not stay this night in the plains of the desert. Instead, without delay, go across, otherwise the king may be engulfed, and all the people who are with him. But Jonathan and Ahimaaz remained beside the fountain of Rogel. And a handmaid went away and reported it to them. And they set out so that they might carry the report to King David. For they could not be seen nor enter into the city. But a certain young man saw them. Except for that they couldn't be seen, but he saw them. Which is not how that whole thing works, but sure. But a certain young man saw them, and he revealed it to Absalom. Yet truly they traveled quickly and entered into the house of a certain man in Bahurim, who had a well in his court, and they descended into it. Then a woman took and spread a covering over the mouth of the well, as if drying hulled barley. And so the matter was hidden. And when the servants of Absalom had entered into the house, they said to the woman, Where is Ahimaaz and Jonathan? And the woman responded to them, They passed through hurriedly after they had taken a little water. But those who were seeking them, when they had not found them, returned to Jerusalem. And when they had gone, terrors blinded me.
What?
Nothing. And when they had gone, they ascended from the well, and traveling, they reported to King David, and they said, Rise up, and go across the river quickly, for Ahithophel has given a counsel of this kind against you. Therefore David rose up, and all the people who were with him, and they crossed over the Jordan until first light. Not even one of them was left behind who had not crossed over the river. Then Ahithophel, seeing that his counsel had not been done, saddled his donkey, and he rose up and went away to his own house and to his own city. And putting his house in order, he killed himself by hanging.
No, it's a bit excessive.
Huh? And he was buried in the sepulchre of his daddy. So he gave advice, and then the other guy gave a different advice, and this guy's advice was ignored, so he just hung himself.
Seems legit. Totally not overreacting or anything.
Then David went to the encampment, and Absalom crossed over the Jordan, he and all the men of Glasgow with him. Truly, Absalom appointed Amasa in place of Joab over the army. Now Amasa was the son of a man who was called Ithra of Jezreel, who entered to Abigail, the daughter of Nahash, the sister of Zeruiah, who was the mother of Joab.
Joab.
My app. I have one singular app.
Just the one.
And when David had arrived at the encampment, Shobi, the son of Nahash, from Rabbah of the sons of Ammon, and Machir, the son of Amiel of Lodebar, and Barzillai, the Gileadite of Rogelim, brought him to bedding, and tapestries, and earthen vessels, and wheat, and barley, and meal, and cooked grain, and butter, and beans, and lentils, and fried chickpeas, and honey, and butter, sheep, and fattened calves. And they gave these to David and to the people who were with him to eat, for they suspected that the people were faint with hunger and thirst in the desert.
Amazing.
And KFC, I'm trying to make an incest joke, but I can't. Kentucky fuck cistern. You're welcome.
Do not.
2 Samuel 18. And so David, having reviewed his people, appointed over them tribunes and centurions. And he placed a third part of the people under the hand of Joab, and a third part under the hand of Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, the brother of Joab, and a third part under the hand of Ittai, who was from Gath. And the king said to the people, I too will go forth with you. And the people responded, you shall not go out, for if we flee, there will not be great concern in them for us. Or if 1/2 part of us will fall, they will not care much, for you are considered as 1 for 10,000. Therefore, it is better that you should be in the city and to strengthen us. And the king said to them, I will do whatever seems good to you. Therefore, the king stood beside the gate. And the people went out by their troops, by hundreds and thousands, and by thousands. And the king ordered Joab and Abishai and Ittai, saying, preserve for me the boy Absalom. And all the people heard the king commanding all the leaders on behalf of Absalom. Kentucky fucking cousins. There you go. There's the instant joke.
Fuck's sake.
And so the people departed into the field against Glasgow. And the battle took place in the forest of Ephraim. And the people of Glasgow were cut down in that place by the army of David. And a great slaughter occurred on that day, 20,000 men. Now the battle in that place was dispersed over the face of all the land. And there were many more of the people whom the forest had consumed than the sword had devoured. And there were many more of the people whom the forest had consumed than the sword had devoured on that day. Then it happened that Absalom, riding on a mule, met the servants of David. And when the mule had entered under a thick and large oak tree, his head became trapped in the oak. And while he was suspended between heaven and earth, the mule on which he had been sitting continued on. Which would terrace? How?
What?
I highlighted it for your convenience.
What happened after the mule? A mule has a big large rock as became and while he was spelling it out, he continued on.
How do you get trapped in the oak?
You go up and you can't get out.
Why? How would you go up when you're riding a mule?
Or maybe they just got tangled in the shrubs. Maybe there was just a very, very low down oak. Maybe the oak tree was bent over and got tangled in the. I don't fucking know.
I mean, that wouldn't be the first thing that's bent over in the Bible. I mean, what?
Well.
Okay. Then a certain one saw this and reported to Joab, saying, I saw Absalom hanging from an oak. And Joab said to the man who had reported to him, if you saw him, why did you not stab him to the ground? And I would have given you 10 shekels of silver and a belt. And he said to Joab, even if you weighed out my hands 1,000 silver coins, I would never lay my hand on the son of the king. For in our hearing the king ordered you and Abishai and Ittai, saying, keep for me the boy Absalom. Then too, if I had acted with such audacity against my own life, this would never have been able to be hidden from the king. And would you then have stood by my side? And Joab said, it will not be as you wish. Instead, I will be assailing him in your side. Then he took 3 lances in his hand, and he fixed them in the heart of Absalom. And while he was still clinging to life upon the oak, 10 young men, armor-bearers of Joab, ran up, and striking him, they killed him. Then Joab sounded the trumpet, and he held back the people, lest they pursue Glasgow in their flight, for he was willing to spare their multitude. And they took Absalom, and they threw him into a great pit in the forest. And they piled an exceedingly great heap of stones over him. But all of Glasgow fled to their own tents. Now Absalom had raised up for himself. Now Absalom had raised up for himself, when he was still alive, a monument, which is in the valley of the king. For he said, I have no son, so this shall be the memorial to my name. And he called the monument by his own name. And it is called the Hand of Absalom, even to this day. Then Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok, said, I will run and report to the king that the Lord has accomplished judgment for him from the hand of his enemies. And Joab said to him, You shall not be the messenger on this day. Instead, you shall report on another day. I am not willing for you to give the report today, because the son of the king is dead. Then Joab said to Hushai, Go and report to the king what you have seen. Hushai reverenced Joab, and he ran. And Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok, said to Joab again, What prevents me from running after Hushai also? And Joab said to him, Why do you want to run, my son? Why are you running?
Why are you running?
You would not be the bearer of good news. And he responded, But what if I do run? And he said to him, Run. Then Ahimaaz, running along a shorter way, passed Hushai. Now David was sitting between the two gates. Truly, the watchman who was at the summit of the gate upon the wall, lifting up his eyes, saw a man running alone. And crying out, he told the king. And the king said, If he is alone, there is good news in his mouth. But as he was advancing and drawing nearer, the watchman saw another man running. And so crying out from the height, he said, Another man has appeared, running alone. And the king said, This one also is a good messenger. And the watchman said, The running of the closest one seems like the running of Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok. And the king said, He is a good man, and he arrives bearing good news. Then Ahimaaz, crying out, said to the king, Be well, O king. And reverencing the king prone on the ground before him, he said, Blessed be the Lord your Skytis, who has enclosed the men who had lifted up. What the fuck? Lifted up? Okay. Blessed be the Lord your Skytis, who has enclosed the men who had lifted up their hands against the Lord, my lord the king. And the king said, Is there peace for the boy Absalom? And Ahimaaz said, I saw a great tumult, O king. When your servant Joab sent me, your servant, I know nothing else. And the king said to him, Pass and stand here. And when he had passed and stood still, Hushai appeared. And approaching, he said, I bear good news, my lord the king. For today the Lord has judged for you from the hand of all who had risen up against you. But the king said to Hushai, Is there peace for my boy Absalom? And responding, Hushai said to him, May the enemies of my lord the king, and all who rise against him for evil, be as the boy is. And so the king, being greatly saddened, ascended to the upper room of the gate, and he wept. And as he went, he was speaking in this manner, My son Absalom! Absalom, my son! Who can grant to me that I may die on your behalf? Absalom, my son! My son, Absalom!
His son.
Go ahead, Sanitaris.
The end.
Okay.